Hello and welcome back to TakeaSide. I'm your host, Ryan Atchison. I'm filling in for Max McElroy. We've got a great show for you today. Be sure to download the Side Debates app or go to decided.co to vote, comment, and interact with users about the hottest topics in sports or entertainment. The more you post, the more points you can get to climb that leaderboard for a chance at a $25 Amazon gift card. Moving into our first segment, a lot of madness in college football happened over the weekend, with some top teams falling while other teams ranked lower are hot and rising up the rankings. With conference championship coming up on Saturday, some teams are vying for one of the 4 spots available to have a chance at the national championship, while others are looking for their first conference title in years. I'm joined by Blake Sevenbergen and Jackson Reed, who will debate which teams will win these upcoming matchups. Jackson, I'll start with you.
Thanks, Ryan and Blake. We're back debating on TakeaSide. We took a little bit of a break for Thanksgiving and got to get a little friendship aspect. Now we're done with that. First game, Pitt and Wake in the ACC Championship. Who you got and why?
These two teams in their conference did not play head-to-head this year, so it's a tough pick for me. But I'm going off of the one common opponent I know that they have that is still a quality opponent in Clemson. And because of the Clemson game, I have to take Pitt. Wake Forest was a top 10 team at the time. They played Clemson, and they got dominated.
They did.
They did get dominated, and Pitt dominated Clemson. So when you think of it from that aspect, I think you have to go with Pitt. Pitt's been an underdog team all year. Wake Forest too. But the momentum is in Pitt's favor. I think they're going to take this one.
I agree that the momentum is in Pitt's favor, but I've rode with Wake Forest all year. I've been on air saying I'm riding with Wake Forest all year. I can't waver now in the ACC Championship. They've made it this far. I agree. Kenny Pickett is definitely a better quarterback when you look at the quarterback battle, but I think Wake Forest has the more complete team, and I feel like that's the reason why they're going to win this game. And playing in Death Valley isn't easy. Pittsburgh did it, and they won, and I understand that. But this isn't about playing Clemson, who had a terrible year this year. This is about this game right now, and I think one-on-one, I think Wake not only matches up better, but I think they're going to win this game against Pitt on the ACC Championship day. Next game, Oregon and Utah. Who are you picking and why?
See, these two teams played already once this year, and Utah obliterated Oregon. It wasn't even close.
No.
The game was over by halftime. Mm-hmm. There's no way this happens to Oregon again. No way. Kayvon Thibodeau on the defense. I know that they just got shelled the last time they played. Here's the thing is Oregon is a well-coached football team. They're experienced. They have a good defense. They have a top 5 pick on their defensive line. There's no way 2 times in a row Utah is going to dominate them. I'm not necessarily sure if Oregon's going to win outright, but I'm telling you now it will be a way closer game than it was the first time around.
It'll be a way closer game, but anything you can do once, you can do twice. And Utah will beat Oregon, and Utah will beat Oregon by not a substantial number, but they're going to win between that 10 to 17-point range. Utah is a team that can beat Oregon. They have beat Oregon, and I don't care that it was at Utah and everything. It seemed like a trap game. It still is. This game really doesn't really matter anything for college football playoff implications or anything, but I'm telling you right now, Oregon is going to come out. They're going to lay an egg again. They always do against Utah.
No way.
They always do against Utah every single time.
Okay, but the last time they played was at Utah.
And?
Yes. Big home game, big environment, top 5 team on the road. Everybody's coming for you. This is a neutral site game. It's going to be way different atmosphere and a way closer game.
It's a Pac-12 championship. That doesn't mean that they're still going to be coming for Oregon. Utah they are a favored team, and it makes sense. I think Utah will cover the 3-point spread, which we're not really talking about gambling today, but Utah is going to win this game, and I promise you. Next game, Cincinnati and Houston in the American Championship. What are your pick and why?
This game's so tough to pick because Cincy hasn't really been we're going to blow teams out every single week type of team. And Houston is still a very solid football program. Mm-hmm. But I think implications-wise of this game for Cincy, I have to go with the Bearcats. This is the biggest game in program history, I would say, to date. They win, and they're most likely in, and they're the first group of 5 team to make the college football playoff. Mm-hmm. With those implications, I don't see any way Cincinnati doesn't come out and just have a field day. There's no way. They're the best team in their conference. They have the most talent. They're going to win this one, and I think they're going to win it big.
I do too. I really think Cincinnati is going to jump on Houston early. That's what you have to look at early. You have to look at how Desmond Ridder and the Bearcats come out early on offense in the first quarter. I think they win the first quarter 14 or 17 to nothing. I think they shut out Houston in the first quarter, and it rolls from there. I think Cincinnati wins this game, and I think they win it big as well.
Yeah, they have to. For Cincinnati's sake, for Group of 5 conference's sake, Cincinnati has to win this game. and I think that that's going to play out how we want it to.
It's not only that they have to win the game; they have to still win it by a substantial margin. They can't leave any room for doubt in the voters' mind for Cincinnati. Next game, Michigan and Iowa in the Big Ten Championship. Be careful because you have that look in your eye.
Yeah, so this is the one that we're going to disagree on the most because I know there's a 150% chance that you and every single expert in America is going to take Michigan in this game. I'm not guaranteeing an Iowa win, but I will say Iowa might be the worst 10-2 team of all time. I will agree with you on that. But you know what? They're still 10-2, and they find ways to win football games. The 5 of the last 7 matchups between Iowa and Michigan, Iowa has won 5 of the last 7. 4 of the last 6 times Iowa has played an AP top 5 ranked team, they have won 4 out of the last 6. Last time Michigan was ever ranked number 2 in the country was in 2016, undefeated in November. You know who they lost to knock them out of the playoffs?
Probably Iowa.
It was Iowa. Okay, Iowa's offense is really bad. I will say that.
They're awful.
But let's talk about the defense and special teams of this Iowa team. Let's take a look at what they did against Nebraska to come back and win that game.
But they're not going to get it. Mike Pereira in our ear does not like it as a foul because it started inbounds. And it is not a... Well, it's blocked! Oh! And they're going to take it in for a touchdown! Johnson. Smothers had the fumble. Now can he regroup? Oh, he's getting rid of it. But is that going to be a safety? Yes, there it is. It's grounding in the end zone, and that's a safety.
So as you can see, Iowa down 21-9 at the time.
Against Nebraska.
Who had a positive point differential on the season and still lost all their games. They were not a bad football team. Let's get to this. Let me finish here. Okay? Iowa's offense is bad. We already agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay? Name a defense that is more opportunistic than the Hawks. None. There's not a defense in America that has more defensive touchdowns than Iowa.
Probably not.
Iowa has blocked punts in multiple games this season, and they've had multiple special teams touchdowns. Michigan will score the ball on offense, but they will also turn the ball over enough times for Iowa to keep this close. You watch the special teams, you watch the defense. Iowa, if they get 2 touchdowns on offense and opportunistic plays on defense, watch out. This game is going to be way closer than you think.
I think my only school of thought of not picking Iowa in this game is because I'm under the impression that everything is different this year for Michigan. Everything is different. This is a different team. Harbaugh finally found his quarterback in Cade McNamara. He finally got his win against Ohio State. And you really think a 10-2 Iowa team who can't score the ball is going to stop Michigan from getting to the college football playoff?
Every single Michigan team every year under Harbaugh has been different, and they were 2-4 last year. Cade McNamara still has turnover problems, and congrats, you beat an Ohio State team with negative run defense.
I'm telling you, it's a different team. It is a different team this year. But you have to back it up because the argument against Michigan is they never win against Ohio State. It takes them a decade to win against Ohio State.
It's because it does. That's
I know it does. I know it does. But when it comes around to that decade, that's a special team. They have a special team this year. That team is playoff ready. I'm telling you right now, Michigan will win that game. It will be close.
Playoff ready, and the conversation is Michigan, guess what? They're already in. They're going to just watch. Iowa's going to sneak through the back door. They're going to come out of nowhere, and they're going to surprise people.
If they lose, they are most certainly not in the college football playoff.
No, not at all.
Absolutely not. Next game, Oklahoma State and Baylor. This one could get interesting in the Big 12 championship game down in Dallas.
Oklahoma State's going to win this one. I have been saying all year long, Oklahoma State is the best team in the Big 12. After watching them dismantle Kansas the way they did, and after how Kansas played against Oklahoma, who was the favorite in the conference, I think there's no way Oklahoma State doesn't win this game. I think it's close, but Oklahoma State will win.
I think the only blemish on Oklahoma State's record right now is that one the loss I got away from them against Iowa State. Without that, you're looking at the number 2 or number 3 team in the country right now. And the fact that they're probably going to be ranked number 5 going into the rankings on Tuesday, I see no reason why Oklahoma State will lose this game. I think they will win the game by a substantial margin. This is a team that I really like this year. I hope they can sneak into the playoff, but they're going to need a little bit of magic to happen.
I will say, though, for underdog's sake, Baylor, in their upset wins and their big wins they've had this season, they've came in as the underdog. They've been an under-the-radar team that has snuck into the top 15 out of nowhere, I'd say. So watch out for them to maybe surprise us a little bit, but I think Oklahoma State in the long run is going to win this one.
The only thing I have against Baylor is that loss against TCU. That was a really poor performance.
Loss, yep.
Speaking of a team that has not had a poor performance, in our last game, our last topic of discussion, Georgia versus Bama in the SEC Championship. Who you got and why?
I mean, I think you'd be crazy not to pick Georgia.
Right.
But for argument's sake, I'll give a case for Alabama, even though Alabama has a bad loss to a Texas A&M team that just lost to LSU. Speaking of LSU, Alabama almost lost to them too. And they had to go to 4 overtimes against a mediocre Auburn team.
Mediocre at best.
Okay, exactly. No one thinks Alabama's going to win this game. No one. It's similar to Iowa, Michigan. No one thinks Iowa's going to win that game.
Right.
Bama is still one of the top recruited teams in America with the most 5 stars, one of the best coaches of all time, if not the best college football coach of all time. You can't tell me that they're not going to be in a position to be ready to win this type of football game. That's my only Bama argument.
Yes. Oh, yes. I can tell you that they won't be in a position to win this game because they're against this Georgia defense. I think Georgia will hold them to 3 points or less. I don't think Alabama will score a point in this game. I'm telling you right now, this Alabama offense couldn't move the ball against Auburn, could hardly move it against Texas A&M, and really had trouble moving it against LSU too. A couple of those were home games. There is no way that this game is being played in Georgia's backyard with that kind of defense and that kind of team. There is no way that Alabama scores more than 6 points. I'm telling you right now.
I think they'll score more than 6, but there's no way they'll win. Georgia's going to win this one. They're going to be the number 1 seed and going into the playoff. I think that that's a given. Now let's send it over to a quick break.
Living a healthy lifestyle can be very important. Make sure you get plenty of exercise every day. Even your dogs could use exercise and water. Look like this, not like this. Look like this, not this.
A lot of our waste ends up discarded in the environment, causing pollution, but we can help to reduce this pollution by recycling. There are many recycling bins on KU's campus. And when you're not on campus, take advantage of these bins offered in many retail stores. You should also try to reduce your use of plastic by using these refillable water jugs. Our actions have a huge impact on the environment, so make sure to do your part to keep it clean.
Welcome back. The NFL has been under fire this year for referees cracking down on players taunting, which has led to more penalties on individuals and fines coming with it. Some of those fines have been up to tens of thousands of dollars. I'm now joined by Isabel Scarborough discussing what should the NFL do with the taunting penalty going forward. Isabel, what do you got?
NFL needs to stop with the taunting, or if not stop all the way, they need to make it way, way, way less strict. This is the first season that they've started the strictness. They've really tried to up it, and I don't think it was a good idea. There's many, many reasons for it. Like, of course, the taunting, but let's say. There was a great example. The Bucks and the Chiefs, they played together. He threw up the peace sign to Winfield. They had a great. He threw the peace sign, Tyreek Hill threw it up, and then walked away. And then Winfield waited a full year to get back at Hill for doing this. They're matchup, they're together, and then Winfield throws up the peace sign to Hill about a yard away from each other. And it was a great moment. It went viral, everybody loved it. And if that were to happen in this season, it would go wrong. He would get fined, there would have been flags, and a whole bunch of things. And for the taunting, you lose 15 yards. It is a 15-yard penalty, which is horrible. There was a Broncos game. A very new rookie, he had a wonderful run. He got almost 5 yards from the goal. And then he threw down the ball because he's a rookie. He just made a great yard. He made a great run. And then they took it back, 15 yards back. They didn't score anything. And it was almost like the play he did meant nothing because of the taunting penalty. I think it gives refs way too much power in the game. Like the Bears versus Steelers games, the Bears almost come back. They score a touchdown, which could have got them to win. Except for the ref threw the flag, which made it go away. The touchdown didn't matter anymore. They went back, and they could not come back from it. It gives the refs way too much power in a game. Also, you think of the NFL. It takes years, it takes power and strength to get into the NFL. So there's a whole bunch of players who are doing what they've wanted to do their entire life. Anyone who's in the NFL has wanted to do it for their entire life. So of course they want to celebrate. You know, they're super excited. They make a big play like a touchdown, or they have a great yard, and they do something simple like point to the first down, or throw the ball, or high five. Something simple like that gets a taunting play, and it's like the NFL and refs want to take out the fun of the NFL, which it's a fun game. And I think players should be allowed to have fun. Players should be allowed to have as much fun as they want to, and taunting takes that away. Of course, there's times where I do think it's acceptable, like when players go up to the opposing team, directly up to them and try to cause problems. I think taunting is acceptable for that, because the other player is trying to cause problems and trying to start a fight or whatever. But I think that's the only time taunting should be acceptable, because it's not a good flag. There's multiple things in football that can cause penalties, but taunting doesn't hurt anybody. For being honest, football is a rough sport. A lot of tackles and hurts, but taunting is one of the few things that doesn't hurt anybody. And in a way, I think it can make the game a lot more fun, a lot more enjoyable. It's fun to watch a great touchdown happen and then a fantastic celebration. Celebrations are talked about. Celebrations are like traditions for teams. And I think the refs are doing way more than they need to by throwing up the flags, and it loses momentum for a team, and I don't think it should keep going. And I think that the taunting penalty, it should become way less strict, or they should go back to the regulars how they used to have it. But that is unfortunately all the time that we have today, and I'm going to send it back to Ryan.
Once again, be sure to create an account to post. It's free, and you can comment on a wide variety of sports debates and what's trending on the hot topics. You can check out the website at sided.co or the Side Debates app for that fresh daily content. Also, be sure to follow us on our Twitter at TakeaSideKU. On our Twitter, we post content from our shows as well as post other debates for everyone to vote and comment on. Also, follow us on our Instagram at TakeaSideKU, and on top of our show's content, we do live streams to leave our opinions on breaking news around the league. So be sure to check us out on there too. For all of us here at Take a Side, thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.